Even after her sons were executed and left in the fields without dignity, Rizpah made shelter for herself under a rock and paid vigil as she guarded the bodies of her sons from birds and wild animals. The story of Rizpah is one of the most tragic Bible stories. Rizpah became a beacon of resilience and hope when she witnessed the merciless execution of her sons for sins they did not commit. But what did Rizpah's sons do to deserve such a dishonorable death? Why didn't King David spare their lives as he did with Jonathan's son? Before we answer these questions, subscribe to our channel if you love our content to support us. During King David's reign, he found himself in a tough situation. David's land was faced with a severe famine, which lasted for 3 relentless years. Desperate to save the people of Israel, King David, God's chosen king, sought the Lord's guidance. It was during this time that the Lord revealed that the severe famine in Israel was divine punishment for the bloodshed committed by Saul and his family against the Gibeonites. During King Saul's tenure, his ungodly deeds resulted in the breaking of a solemn promise to protect the Gibeonites, a group that was living within Israel. King Saul betrayed the solemn promise that Israel had made with the Gibeonites to protect them, and brought violence among the Gibeonites. As a result of Saul's betrayal and violence, the Lord bestowed a curse upon the land, and it was up to David to pay for Saul's sins. Once King David was aware of the reason for the severe famine, he went to the Gibeonites and sought what he could do to atone for Saul's sins. The Gibeonites made it clear that they were not after gold or bloodshed against the Israelites, who had not wronged them, but they demanded justice that matched the pain they had undergone. Considering that King Saul wanted to wipe them out of the face of the world, the Gibeonites demanded 7 male descendants of King Saul to be handed to them, so that they could execute them before the Lord. Paying blood for blood was a common form of retribution back in the day, and it left King David in a hard spot. Left without any choice, and in dire need to end the famine that had paralyzed the land of Israel, David was compelled to hand over 7 descendants from the house of Saul, bound by a sacred promise that David had made to Jonathan, Saul's son. David spared Jonathan's son, Mephibosheth, but he had no other choice than to find 7 male descendants from Saul's house. Among the 7 descendants were 2 sons who belonged to Rizpah, Saul's concubine. Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, had found herself under the royal court of Israel as Saul's concubine. From the union, Rizpah welcomed 2 sons, Armoni and Mephibosheth. Alongside Rizpah's sons were 5 grandsons of Saul, born to Merab, Saul's daughter. David handed over the 7 descendants of Saul, as requested by the Gibeonites, who carried the retribution, on a barren hill. It was at the beginning of the barley harvest, under the harsh glare of the sun, when the Gibeonites executed the 7 men. They hung their bodies upon the hill before the Lord, a public declaration of the fulfillment of justice they sought for the wrongs that Saul had inflicted upon them. Even after the retribution was done, the bodies of the 7 men had to be deprived of a proper burial until the manifestation of God's forgiveness. Amidst this tragedy, Rizpah, the mother of 2 of the 7 executed men, fell into agony and sorrow. While she knew that her loved ones would hang in shame until God forgave Israel, she carried out an act of unimaginable devotion and boundless love. While everyone waited for God's forgiveness, Rizpah made the barren hill where her sons hung her home. She spread a cloak for herself under a rock and kept a solitary vigil from the beginning of the harvest until the autumn rains approached. Day and night, Rizpah kept vigil, protecting the bodies of her loved ones from the birds by day and wild animals by night. While she could have done nothing to save her sons from the Gibeonites, Rizpah's dedication to guarding her sons showcased her unmatched devotion to her sons' dignity. Rizpah's agony and devotion to guarding her sons reached King David. King David, moved and touched by her actions, did something that could bring dignity to the fallen souls and rest to Rizpah. David ordered his men to go to Jabesh in Gilead to retrieve the bones of Saul and Jonathan. The Philistines had stolen the bones of Saul and his son to display them in disgrace, but David ended that when he decided to give them dignity and peaceful rest. Alongside the bones of Saul and Jonathan, King David and his men gathered the remains of the 7 men and they were all buried in the tomb of Kish, Saul's father. This act of respect and closure from David not only honored the deceased, but also symbolized God's forgiveness, dignity, and peace. The famine, which had made Israel barren for 3 years, came to an end, and the Lord forgave Saul's sins and blessed Israel. Rizpah's actions became a beacon of hope and resilience, illustrating the power of a mother's love and the extent she would go, no matter the harsh circumstances. While the long-awaited rains signaled the end of famine and God's forgiveness to the nation, for Rizpah, the rains marked the end of her vigil rather than her grief. Her sons were gone, but her actions and devotion were remembered with honor. Rizpah's story stands as a testament to the power of love and the enduring spirit of a mother. In the overwhelming face of sorrow, Rizpah's legacy lives on as a symbol of unwavering love and resilience. Thank you for watching this story to the end. Please subscribe to support our channel and share to touch as many souls as possible.